Okay. I'm back again, recording my thoughts on the scriptures, specifically Come Follow Me curriculum. This week is the Philippians, or Paul's letter to the Philippians and the Colossians. So today I've been listening to Philippians. It's 4 chapters. It's short to listen to. I think I really need to I really need to sit down and study these. Listening is fine. I feel inspiration, I feel guidance when I listen. I think that more effective study for me is opening the scriptures, sitting down, cross-referencing, looking up stuff. So my thoughts are probably going to be short on this, which is fine. Chapter 2 is kind of the one that sticks out the most to me, and that's because of the statement that Paul makes to work out your own salvation, and I think it's easy to take that scripture out of context. I think it's easy to say, to fixate on the word work rather than the words your own salvation. Because at this point, I think Paul is in prison. He's been arrested for preaching the gospel. And so he's writing this letter to the Philippians. Anyway, he writes and says, you've been obedient. I would probably say to the commandments in my absence. How much more do you need to be obedient in my absence and work out your own salvation? So rather than having him be the source of revelation and guidance, that needs to be on each individual, on each of us, to work with God for our salvation, to choose to allow the grace of Jesus Christ into our lives. So there's when he says work, he doesn't mean, and he even says it in that chapter, he doesn't mean work on your own, but your salvation is individual. His salvation is individual. Exaltation is a family affair, right? That's a common phrase, or at least in the recent years, it's been a common phrase, and among the church leaders. But yes, it's our individual relationship with God. It's not that we are doing all of the work ourselves. And I think it's easy for, especially growing up, raised in a Latter-day Saint household, to focus on that word work. And I think it's too easy to put that and put that on, dare I say, children, and say, you got to put in the work if you want to be saved. Whereas that is not the case. And there's a wreck. That is not the case. My work, or how I work my salvation, is by going through God. And Paul says that it's God that works in you. So I think that's my takeaway right now, is to not focus on the word work, but who's doing the work, and what am I doing to allow God to work in me. And I think that's what Paul's really getting at. You've listened, you've obeyed, but now it's time for you to let God work in you, to give you the inspiration, and so that you can work out your own salvation with your relationship with God. So he puts it on them, and it's not all on him, and he acknowledges that it's not all on him. So those are my thoughts.